Hi, this is Tim with Petals again, and we are going to show you how to plant some dahlias today. And when do you plant? You usually plant, we're in Zone 5B here in Fort Collins, Colorado, and you know the regular guide, really dahlias are frost sensitive, and so any kind of freeze will damage them. And so here in Fort Collins, the general guidance is to plant them when you plant your tomatoes and peppers, which the milestone is really Mother's Day. And so Mother's Day is kind of the day here. If you're from a different part of the area, look at your last frost zone. Your general guidance is basically anytime your last frost is, and we use the average last frost, which is our Mother's Day. So that's when you plant. And what tools do you need, or what do you need? We have a stake, or where we're gonna, this is what will, dahlias grow 4 to 5 feet tall. So they'll need to be staked and supported. And so when we have just a few, we use this stake method where we add a stake next to the tuber, and we have a hammer. I have a knee pad because I like sitting, using my knees on the knee pad. And then I have a trowel. So let's get started. Okay, so I've dug a small hole here. And first I want to talk about your soil. This soil is not wet. I can't get any moisture out of it, but it kind of clumps. That's like perfect. You need a little humidity, but you don't want sopping wet soil, and you don't want cold soil. So that's the other thing, and the reason we go by last frost date. If your soil is below 60 degrees and the soil is wet, your tuber can rot. So that's one of your failure points. And so we like our loamy soil with some humidity, but not sopping wet. And this is like perfect for that. And so I have my tuber, and they talk about plant your dahlias 3 to 6 inches deep. So then it's kind of like, well, Tim, what is it? Is it 3 inches deep or is it 6 inches deep? And so, well, we have clay soil here, so we tend to plant shallower. The crown of the tuber needs a little bit of oxygen, and the deeper you go, the colder it is. That's fine for sandy, well-draining soil, or for heavy clay soil, we tend to plant on the shallower side. So 3 inches is like the minimum. I'm gonna go right about there. And we're gonna plant this horizontally, like I got my sprout. I want my sprout facing up so it can shoot straight up. And I'm gonna plant it horizontally, 3 inches deep in our soil, and then we're just gonna cover it. However, I made one mistake that you may make as well. The reason we have this stake is we don't want to impale our tuber. And so we want to stake it at the same time so we know where it is. So there's the stake. Now I'm covering my soil. I'm not impaling my tuber, and it's ready to grow. We also add our label with our the variety, so we know what variety it is. We stick that in the soil next to it too. We actually come back and put a bigger stake, as some of these can get lost as the plant gets big. So you have a stake, you have the tuber planted. Now you wait 2 to 4 weeks and wait for it to sprout. So then if you have more than one, how far do you spread them apart, or how far do you space them? And we space ours 18 inches apart. There are other people you hear down to 12 inches, you hear other people 24 inches. 18 inches is a safe bet. If you don't have a lot of room, you can feel comfortable doing 12 inches. Obviously, they need sunshine. The leaves get sunshine, and that's what builds the tubers and which gives you more flowers. People say they can go down to 12 inches and have no issues. And so I believe them because they grow lots and lots of flowers. So I think you're all right. We have the space, so we try to give our plants a little more space so they get a little more sunshine, a little more airflow so they don't get powdery mildew. Yeah, that's our growing video for today, and we'll see you next time.